Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's me again, Jen. Hello! And it is Wednesday. We are halfway through the week. It is the month of May, and we are reading from the Elemental Wisdom Tarot deck. This deck is absolutely stunning. It is done by digital artists, and I absolutely love it. It is also a deck that I borrowed from my dear friend and tarot student, Taylor, who I'm sure you saw last month doing some tarot cards inspired by a video game. Not watch any of those, please check out the videos that we did last month all through April and see the amazing things that Taylor had to say about this video game and this deck that she shared with us. So she may have a minor tarot deck addiction. We are going to fully support that and go into some more detail on the cards from this Elemental Wisdom deck. So let's see what card we have today. All right, we have one of our first minor cards that are not a court card or anything else. This is kind of interesting, and also there is a lot going on in this card. Yikes. Okay, so number one, these cards are absolutely stunning. I love everything about them in terms of the artwork. As far as the symbolism, some of the things so far have been a little bit uncertain, and also, as we have mentioned from the get-go, the font on this is not so great. So this is the Five of Swords. It's very clear that it is swords. It's very clear that there are five of them. So it's okay if you can't read the font in this case, but it is still kind of nice to be able to read that, and it's super hard for me to read. I don't know about anybody else, but it's super hard for me to read. I want to pick apart what is on this card, and then we'll go into the symbolism and the meaning of this card. So we have our swords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are all stuck in the ground, which is a little bit different than a standard Five of Swords, but again, we'll get into that. There's a serpent coiled around one of these swords, kind of coiled through some of the others. That has got some major symbology that I want to go into. And also down at the bottom here, I don't know if it's easy to see or make out, but there is some blood and bones and is that coins? I'm pretty sure it's treasure coins on the ground there. There's blood splattered everywhere. This card is not afraid to be a little bloody and grotesque, just a little bit. If you have an aversion to blood, maybe don't get into this deck, because I got a feeling there's going to be more where this came from. So Five of Swords. Typically the Five of Swords is a card of kind of arrogance and, yes, getting what you want, but not in the way you want to get it, or getting what you think you want, but really in the end it's cost you much more. So we've got these bones down at the bottom. Clearly something was lost, killed, or whatever. This snake has come along, but there are treasures on the ground, which again, that's interesting because now we've got like coins represented on a sword card, which I'm all for because they are still small and kind of insignificant in terms of which thing you should be looking at for the symbol of the card. These swords are very big. Usually there are 3 swords on the ground and 2 are being carried away by someone who has clearly won the day. They have won the challenge, they get to keep all the swords, and everybody else is kind of walking away. They have a very arrogant look about them. I feel like it could be either way with the symbols of the snake and the bones here. We have the bones on the ground, which could be the creature who got all the treasure, who was guarding the treasure, but then was slaughtered by others who came along after. It could be that the serpent came along and that was his treasure or whatever. There's a lot of things we can go with on this. I want to go with what serpents can symbolize. Say that 3 times fast. Serpents can symbolize. So the serpent has a couple of different things. If you look into more biblical stories, in Western culture, you have the serpent in the Garden of Eden who is treacherous and tries to get you to do things that you probably shouldn't do. Serpents can also represent wisdom and knowledge and kind of secret knowledge as well. So with the secret knowledge aspect of things, you could say, hey, the serpent kind of knows all and is a little bit arrogant about that and may come off as being like, hey, I know it all. This is what I got. And I'm super arrogant about it. And yeah, you're just a pile of bones down there. You're on the treasure. You definitely got it. But what can you do with it now that you are dead? So there is that aspect to it. The wisdom side of it is represented in all of that, but on the other side you have the treachery. And yes, the Five of Swords can very much represent treachery. Treachery on the part of the person who draws the card, treachery on the part of others to watch out for. But yeah, most of the time it leans heavily on this is something you need to work on. Look at your own personality, look at the things that you have to kind of balance. Yes, it's great to be right, not to be right all the time. It's great to have the power in a situation, but if that power comes at the cost of other people basically fearing you, or it's not a respect or out of honor that they do what you say, it's more fear or they just feel like they have to. It may cost them their job, it may cost them their relationship or whatever. The whole I told you so kind of energy comes with this card. If you know somebody like this or you are like this, we have all been in this situation. If we are the type of person who is like, well, I'm right. I don't care if you feel bad about it. And I'm going to say that I'm right. And it's not about being nice. You're the idiot kind of thing. That's the energy of this card. So if you are kind of that energy, or you know people who are of that energy and they're coming up a lot, this is very much what's going on with this card. So when this card comes up in a reading, I will tend to tell people, hey, maybe either it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to say, you know what? I admit it, that was probably not the right thing to do. Or it's okay to like not talk about it if you're right. Let people learn on their own. Don't bludgeon them with something. Sometimes we all got to learn in our own way. Your lessons don't have to be other people's life lessons, put it that way. So I love all the symbology in this. I love the artistry in these cards. They're absolutely gorgeous to look at. And again, the images go all the way to the edge, which really gives it that feeling that you could look beyond the card and there's so much more going on. The only thing I don't like is that the font is awful, and that, you know, if you were a new reader and don't know a lot about the cards, you're also going to have to go buy a book separately to learn or really kind of dive deep on symbology and the psychology of the cards and stuff. So, that said, I otherwise really think these cards are great, but maybe not for a beginning reader or anybody who's trying to read these particular cards for the first time. So, thank you again to Taylor for lending these cards to us. I'm super excited about seeing all of them come out throughout the rest of the month. And if you want to see what Taylor and I talked about last month, check out the links in the description below or at the end of this video. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please, I love to read the comments on these. We have great conversations going on. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!